All right. During this, well, first of all, my name is Peter Lewis. I'm an elder in my church, and my wife and I, my wife's Casil Lewis, our niece, Nadej Innocent, and Eric. We're here to impart to you what God has taught us. One of the area specialties that we do is looking at body chemistry, a unique area, along with the rest of the area that's common to medical missionary work. This is the Sanitarium class, and as I mentioned earlier, while we are not zeroing in on Sanitarium exactly today, we're going to give you the tools that you will need even if you choose to run a Sanitarium home style, or even in your own household, that you will be able to use to improve your health and to help someone else as a medical missionary. Okay? And as I mentioned, for more extensive information on the Sanitarium work, we have 2014 we did Sanitarium, 2015, 2016 we did covered more information in Sanitarium work, different variations each year. Today we're going, this camp meeting, we're going to deal with the biblical foundations for health, with the added illustration of the natural remedies to show you how God's plan work in a practical way. All right? So we're going to be covering as well and show you how God heals, because in advances in medical science, with all the advances, they still cannot improve upon God's system of healing. I'm going to demonstrate that to you. We're going to share with you how all the microbes that you ever need to make you ill or which result from your illness is generated from within and not from without. You heard what I said, right? I'm going to show you how it is based upon your state of health. You have a generator, built-in generator in your body to produce all the germs, the bacteria, the yeast, the fungus, the mold that you ever need. I mean, you can get extra from the environment on the outside, but we got it, friends, based upon the health of each individual cell and tissue in your body. I'm going to show you that. You see, medical science theory is that those guys invade our bodies from the outside. They come in and make us sick. See what I'm saying? Well, there's some truth to that. But the bulk of it is from the internal organs and tissue based upon their health. These microbes are generated, and they're at the mercy of your immune system. Okay? All right, so my name is Peter Lewis, my wife Casil Lewis. We operate a home-style sanitarium in Tennessee, Camden, Tennessee. We also operate a health food store in Camden, Tennessee for the past 10 years. And the Lord has been good to us. So, without any further preliminaries, we're going to move forward in our presentation as we develop the concept of the biblical foundation for health. What we want when you leave here and you see these principles, you no longer think that they're second class to medical science, because they come straight from the Creator. See what I'm saying? Okay. The biblical foundations for health. It all started in the beginning, where God says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. That's right. It all started there in the beginning. God created the heavens and the earth. Now, one principle the Bible brings out in Romans chapter 1 and verse 20 is that the invisible things of God can be understood by the visible things that He made. So, by studying the plant, you can understand the wisdom and the power of God. By studying the fish, you can understand the wisdom and the power of God to put that together. All the visible things that God created, we can understand it as we study them. And so we're going to look at God's order of creation. What was his purpose in creating as He did? Why didn't He start creating day 7 first? Why didn't He create man on day 1? Why didn't He create the fish on day number 2? You know, why did He go in that order that He went? Okay, so we're going to look at that. The first 7 days of time on this earth, we see there, day 1 all the way through day 7, God's creation. We know day 1 He created day and night, right? He created day and night in day number 1. And day 2, He created the firmament. You remember what He created on day number 3? Okay. And the earth, sea, and our food. Day number 4, the sunshine. Day 5, the birds and the fishes. And day number 6, what did He create in day number 6? Man and the animals. And day number 7, He created the Sabbath. That's what He created, right? Now, why did He create in that order? What can we learn? What did He have? What hidden information did He have in what He created, when He created them, and so on? Okay, let's look at that. All right, what's the implication of day and night? God, what were you thinking when you created night? Rest. Okay, so He had built in there rest. All right. Day number 2, the firmament, what was He thinking? Air. He made the firmament to separate the waters above from the waters beneath. So a canopy, and He put the air in there, and so on and so forth. I guess He must be thinking that those who He's going to create are going to need some air. All right? All right. And day number 4, we see there nutrition. All right? He gave man the food that was necessary for man. Day 5, we see, day 4, sunlight among the moon and the stars, of course. We highlight in sunlight, or sunshine. Day number 5, He created what? The birds and the fishes, and their lessons there for us as well. Day number 6, when He created man, notice He told man to have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds, over all the things that He created. So He gave man dominion. That's rulership. That's governing power, right? And also, He put man in a garden to dress and to keep the garden. That was physical work. It's far different from sitting at a desk, right? Okay, there's physical work that He gave to man. And then in the garden itself, there were 4 rivers that had their beginning in the Garden of Eden. All right? Just like in the in the heaven, where God's kingdom is, there is a river of life that flows forth from the throne of God, and that is water for us to drink. So God put water right there in the garden that in abundance, so man would have had enough water to drink. And day number 7, what was the purpose of the Sabbath? This is the crowning act I mean, besides man creation, but God really wanted a relationship. That's why he created man, to have a relationship with him. That oneness that existed. So this is, then when we consider all these important things, then we come up with what God had there for man, or what we call the 8 laws of health. He gave man the nutrition program. He gave man exercise, physical activity, and just the bare anatomy of our bodies, how the blood circulate in the lower extremities indicate that God intends for man to move, else that venous blood is not going to come back up against gravity. All right, and water, sunlight, and so these here form the foundations of biblical health. These form the foundation. Of course, that's acronym is New Start, and this one is God's Plan, whichever of your choice. There's quite a few different acronyms that these have been placed in. Now, what we've done then is to group these. We decided, okay, we can group these in terms of their primary functions to our health. So we've made 4 groups for these particular health laws. Group number 1, that's trust in God. That's in a group by itself there. Group number 2, we're looking at nutrition, water, air, and sunshine. The reason why these are in the groups they are, for example, group 2 is that the nutrient value from these here have to do with the anatomy, the physiology, the function of the cell themselves. Okay? So I put those in that group because if the cell don't have those nutrients, then they're going to deteriorate, they're going to lose energy, they're going to die off prematurely. So all those are very important. Then we have the next group, group 3, rest and exercise. Those play a nice supportive role in the process. Supportive role to support the others. All right, we can deal with those. And then we have, okay, group 4. Group 4 would be temperance. Temperance is group 4. All right. Temperance is group 4, and we're going to talk about that. So all these 8 laws divided into 4 different groups, and you will see how important those groups are in a moment. Okay, so when we look at group number 1, it's dealing with trust, our relationship with God. Group 1, it's trust. And it covers the focus, the purpose for God in creating mankind. And you can see from the very start in Genesis chapter 1, 26 and 27, God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. So God made man like himself, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Right? We were like our Creator. You follow me so far, right? I'm just simply laying a foundation. All right? Now, when man came forth, was he healthy? Was he in perfect health? Absolutely. We wouldn't charge our Creator with creating, someone that was sick. Man was in perfect health. So if I ask you, what is the best illustration of perfect health? What would you tell me? Adam and Eve, just as they came forth from the Creator's hands. Perfect health. Everything functioning normally and naturally. The physical was in harmony. The mental was superb. God had Adam to pass the animals before Adam to see what Adam was going to say, to see if Adam could read real good. And As the lion passed by, Adam read the thought, the invisible things of God in the lion. He said, that's a lion. The tiger passed by. Adam's mind pierced and read the thoughts expressed in that creature. He said, that's a tiger. And so on and so forth. So definitely his mental was in harmony. Spiritually, which deals directly with trust, that was also in harmony. And everything was perfect. And you know, I don't know what the particular chemistry back there of Adam, if we were to look at his chemistry, what they would have resembled, what they would have looked like. But man today, there's an equation that illustrates perfect health, perfect body chemistry. And this is the equation illustrating perfect health, perfect body chemistry. All right? It tells us the person is in perfect health, having 100% reserve energy. Sickness and disease does not show up. See what I'm saying? Okay. All right. And we're going to talk about that throughout the week, but just to illustrate that to you, we're going to focus in as we go on to the point where you'll understand why is possibly my dizziness. Why do I have leg cramping? Why am I absent-minded? You know, I leave from one room, go to the other room to pick up something, and you know, I get there and I say, man, what did I go for again? I got to go back to this room and backtrack, and in hope that it'll come back. Okay, so as we go throughout this week, we want to give you the tools necessary for you to understand your own body, what is going on. You see what I'm saying? All right. That clock is still saying 0. I haven't started yet, I guess. All right. That's okay. Now, the spiritual connection to all of this here, all right, there's a spiritual connection. I guess when I transfer from Keynote to PowerPoint, it puts some things off, so you just bear with me. You can still see it. All right, there's a spiritual connection to man that we sometimes miss in trust in God. Okay? We know in 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 3:16, it tells us our body is what? The temple of God. And God dwells in us by His Spirit. Ephesians 2:22, we're created as the habitation of God by His Spirit. So as Adam came forth from the Creator's hand, the Creator had in mind that Adam and Eve, as a counterpart to himself, was going to be a dwelling place where I can dwell and tabernacle by my Spirit, and thus there's a oneness that existed there between Adam and his Maker. Okay? There's a oneness that existed there between Adam and his Maker. So man was created as the temple. So here we have it. We have the spiritual connection. All right. In Luke chapter 3, verse 38, it tells us that, as dealing with the genealogy, as you see there, which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of, okay, Adam was the son of God. Why was he the son of God? Did he meet the criteria for the son of God? Absolutely. Adam was the son of God, and we're going to look at that just briefly. We're laying a foundation because this is what God wants. So when we think about health, we want to see the spiritual connection because physical, mental, and spiritual has to be restored. You know, we can talk about the physical. You can restore the physical. We can restore the mental. But guess what? If only those two are restored, then when Jesus comes, are we going with him in the kingdom? No. The spiritual has to be restored. Even if the physical is not restored here, we know it's going to be restored in the hereafter. Right? So let's move on. So quickly, to get over these preliminary portions, now if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, Paul says, he is none of his. So Adam came forth, he had the Spirit of God, so he belonged to God. Not only that, but it says, for as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. So Adam was the temple, led by the Spirit of God, so he came forth as the Son of God. Right? Okay? In verse 16 it says, the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. So definitely there was a close and decided connection between Adam and his Maker there in the Garden of Eden. There was oneness that existed between them. As Jesus expressed in John 17, I in you and my Father in me, that they may be one. That was clearly the condition of Adam as he came forth from his Creator's hand. All right? That is important. So Adam then was a dwelling place for the Spirit of the Lord. And so as such, he's supposed to bear forth fruit. True or false? He had to bear the fruits, right? Okay, let's go back to the slide first. All right. Now, in this slide, it shows Dr. Siegel Burney, a Yale physician and author, agrees that love is medicinal. He says, I am convinced that unconditional love is the most powerful known stimulant of the immune system. If I told patients to raise their blood levels of immune globulin or killer T cells, no one would know how. But if I can teach them to love themselves and others fully, the same changes happen automatically. The truth is, love heals. All right? That was profound for a person of a secular, origin, making that statement, love heals. So when Adam came forth from his Creator's hand, he was able to love like his Creator loved. God is love. Adam was able to love. He identified with the Creator. So you tell me about his immune system now. Right? So as medical missionaries, as God's people, the more bitterness, hatred, anger that we encourage in our lives, the more our immune system is suppressed. And already we have, as I told you, I will show, we have a generator from within to produce all the microorganisms that we ever want to destroy us. And with a compromised immune system, no wonder they say hatred is the greatest cancer seed. Resentment. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Ellen White says this: the love which Christ diffuses through the whole being is a vitalizing power. Every vital part, the brain, the heart, the nerves, it touches with healing. By it, the highest energies of the being are roused to activity. It frees the soul from the guilt and sorrow, the anxiety and care that crush the life forces. With it comes serenity and composure. It implants in the soul joy that nothing earthly can destroy. joy in the Holy Spirit, health-giving, life-giving joy. Ministry of Healing 115. So this presence of the Spirit of God in our hearts and lives, friends, is a healing medicine that all the invention of man cannot improve upon. God gave man that advantage at creation. Okay? So it's about building a relationship with the Creator. Now, to put it another way, here's what it is. And you're talking about, okay, we're in Sanitarium class, we're talking about health, but when are we going to get to it? We are dealing with it. One of the 8 laws is trust.